So let's talk about physical boards versus tools. I'm not a big tool fan. I mean, I know in this distributed age we have to be now, but the reason I'm not is because I find that people try to use the tool to define the process. And it's really hard to do things like, hey, we're just going to put a post-it note here for an explicit policy because the tool that I've chosen doesn't support making these policies visible. And so as a human, you're going to come up with much more creative ways to organize your work, and to wait for a software product to actually have that feature so that you can improve your flow is kind of difficult. It's also, I think, psychologically important. It feels good to move these cards. It feels good to see the work, to see that there's an end to the work, that we didn't approve too much work, and that we don't have too much inventory that's causing unnecessary meetings or stress on the team. Knowing that we have a really good process for approving projects. It doesn't take long to approve a project. It takes time to deliver on the project, right? And so understanding where you fit in that flow is really important. And this is an example of some Kanban boards, right? And if you were using a tool, you probably won't have one that looked this creative unless your software vendor can support all your crazy ideas. So here they have, a backlog of different classes of epics, of things that they want to do. They're pulling them in. They're actually working on them. Some of them they're working with IT on, facilities, legal, finance, so they have the cross-team collaboration visible on their board. Here's another one, okay, where they're doing epics and creating backlog, and this team actually chose to create tasks, so they're going down to the task level. That's completely different. Here's another one, right? How would you do this in a tool? Okay, they have 3 different classes of work. They have system improvements, features, and bugs. Okay, and they have their method of doing it, right? And it makes sense to them. It doesn't have to make sense for everybody. Everybody's board does not have to look the same, right? It has to do however the team's organizing their thoughts and how they work. This team also has an expedite lane, okay, or a fast track lane. So again, why do I like Kanban? I can actually see constraints, right? When I was an iteration manager, Scrum Master, I would hear my team talk about what they were working on, and I could see frustration sometimes, or lots of things were blocked, but I didn't really know where to help. And well, with this method, right, I can actually know where to help because I can see when people are overloaded, and then we can start talking about measuring things or improving things or knowledge transfers, right, to remove those constraints and get things flowing again. So again, 3 rules of Kanban, right? We made the work visible, we set strict queue limits, we pulled the value through, right? And the 4th, right, is actually explicit policies. And that's the view, by the way, of the lean dog boat looking at the rock hall and the Coast Guard in Cleveland. Okay, that's Kanban.